Greetings, YouTube. Once again, happy Thursday. I don't know why this is, but for some reason this week, of all weeks, I have been flooded in the Line app comment section, just crazy amount of messages saying, Prof, what are good champs to use Suicide Masteries on? I don't know why it's this week. I don't know why it's the Suicide Mastery craze of the summer, but that is happening, at least to me, right now. Now, I have never really used Suicide Masteries because I was worried about hurting my alliance in Alliance War. But the awesome leader of my alliance, Mr. Goose, has given me full permission to not only experiment with some, but also I will be taking a step back from Alliance War after the season and concentrating only on Alliance questing, and just really taking a step back from being as active in the game in general, as I will be teaching a full online class that demands my time for about 40 hours a week until mid to late June. So here's the deal. This is not going to be a full Suicide Mastery setup, but I promise you every time I change my Mastery setup, I'll do a video showing you what this looks like. Now, because I haven't ventured into the full Mastery setup just yet of Suicide builds, as so many others have, your insight for me is as or even greater of an importance to me as my insight is for you. So I'll show you what I've got. It is still a very high PI, mostly geared toward getting the most points in Arena, because most of my time in this game, between live streams and just behind the scenes, still concentrates on grinding in the Arena to build up units and battle chips, etc., for my daily ability to rank up champs and just have fun in the game. I still, even after 4 years, I must be really sick in the head because I really enjoy the Arena and just find it to be relaxing, especially once you get that infinite streak. So without further ado, let's jump into my current Mastery setup, which may or may not be different than you've seen before from other setups. I've had to tweak a couple of things, and so when we start talking about offense, I don't know. I saw people who swear to me that Courage is broken. And even though on paper Courage is a no-brainer to have, because once you get below 50% health, you want to increase your attack. That just seems like a no-brainer. I've been told that basically has been broken for quite some time. Is there somebody out there watching this that can disprove that? Because, again, I am looking for your feedback as much as you might be clicking on this looking to see what my setup is. So please let me know what you think of Courage. I took the Courage Mastery off, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I didn't really see a big difference in my attack. I still ended my fights about the same. I still did about the same amount of damage. I didn't even think about it, to be honest, until I started looking at my current Mastery set and being like, oh yeah, I've got 0 points in Courage. Maybe I should ask the community about that. So there you have it. That is one goal of this video. Besides that, I have taken down, for the first time since I unlocked it a couple of years ago, Deep Wounds from 5 out of 5 to 4 out of 5. I'm curious to see. My guess is I won't really notice this too much. Obviously, when I'm using champs like Blade and I'm trying to do everything from just landing parries and stacking those bleeds to maybe trying out a new champ like Ronin, I am curious to see if it's going to be a little less. But then again, the difference between 0.8 seconds and a full second of bleed damage really doesn't seem like that much, especially for the trade-off of what we'll get into with the Suicide Mastery setup. Also, I have taken Assassin from 4 out of 5, which I saw no definitive difference between 5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 in Assassin. Even fighting the final Kingpin boss in Alliance Quest or helping out with mini bosses or the final boss of Alliance War, I didn't see a lot of difference. So I can say from my perspective that you don't need 5 out of 5 in Assassin to still have it be a really effective mastery. Maybe you need 4 out of 5. I'll see with 3 out of 5 what it's going to look like. If you have thoughts on that, if you've been tinkering with Assassin more than I have mastery-wise, please comment below. As always, your feedback is appreciated. Now let's talk a little bit about, first and foremost, Glass Cannon is one of my favorite masteries in the game. As soon as I unlocked this and maxed it out, and this was, again, years ago, I saw such a tremendous improvement on the overall damage output of my champions because the base attack went up 7.2%. And because I am mainly a parry fighter, one of the best advice I can give to anyone watching this who's maybe new to the game is to start every fight and time that parry. If you start off the fight and you immediately parry, assuming you're not fighting a champ like, say, Black Panther Civil War that can reflect it on you, or Mordo, or maybe you're fighting someone that can't be stunned, you just automatically have the advantage to start out the fight. And if your block proficiency is up and you take little block damage or parry is up, for example, to max, then you have a chance to take 0 damage and end the fight very quickly. And so that strategy is starting the fight instead of trying to intercept and getting wrecked or dashing back. Just a parry to start the fight really makes a big difference in completing the fights faster. So glass cannon's maxed out. I only have 1 in recoil, and I have 2 in double edge. Why double edge over liquid courage, which before this was the only thing that I had actually used mastery course to unlock? Well, you see, liquid courage is about poison, and if you don't know anything about masteries, just know that suicide masteries is a trade-off. I look at them as steroids for your champions. You are getting a pretty high boost of attack. In my case, 2 out of 3 in double edge is giving me a boost of 20%, but I'm sacrificing 15% health over 12 seconds worth of bleed damage. Now, of course, if you have a bleed immune champion, this does not apply to that champion, and 2 out of 5 of my main starting 5 in questing are bleed immune, and that specifically is Ghost Rider, right? And then I have a couple of options. Corvus is bleed immune as long as those glaive charges are up, and I use him for Alliance quest as well. I also have Vision, which I could use either way for him. And then on top of that, it's really just thinking that Domino will shrug off that bleed most of the time as well. And those are the 2 main that I'm looking forward to doing. You just have to keep in mind that one of the big reasons why Suicide Masteries are frowned upon, especially in Alliance War, is recoil. Because every time you use a special attack, you sacrifice, in this case, 5% of your health. And so one of the best strategies to win an Alliance War fight is just to keep baiting specials, and they will eventually lose all their health. But 5%, I'm telling you, there are certain nodes, and I think Season 10 is going to be even greater of an example of this. There are certain nodes that make the champion so powerful that you're not going to be able to bait that many specials before you get wrecked. And I know the last time I was in Alliance War, I backed up node 29, and I fought Killmonger, who's one of the, if not the most common champ, at least for my tier on that node. And even the block damage I took, and I've got 4 to 4 in block proficiency, was substantial. And then if you get hit at all, you're wrecked. So it's a trade-off. Yes, you can bait specials more easily, but also your champs are steroided up, and that could actually help you get kills on defense. And I think that's kind of an underrated aspect of Suicide Masteries that doesn't get talked about a lot. It's not just a negative for Alliance War defense. In fact, it can be a positive. My defense has not changed. I still love willpower being maxed out. I returned to willpower about a month ago to help me with certain nodes of Act 6, especially a couple of the global nodes that actually give you health back. And I'm very curious to see how this is going to affect the Suicide Mastery recovery with maxed out willpower. A lot of people will say, Prof, stand your ground is a worthless mastery, get rid of it. Well, one, you got to have 15 points on defense to unlock willpower, so you've got to have those points in somewhere. And 2, it really helps for your overall PI. I'll show you what my champion's PI is in a second. But besides that, I sometimes like to hold block and bait heavies. And so if I bait a heavy and I'm not fast enough to dash back or counter with my own heavy, it's actually saved me before where I've literally stood my ground and not been hit. And then my proficiencies, I haven't noticed a major difference. The only 2 that I have maxed out still are parry and stupefy to make that stun duration last as long as possible. Everything from dexterity to limber to petrify and pacify are at 1. Now, the PI of my champions went up between 300 and 400 with this new mastery build, which will give me some points, not a crazy amount, but some added points in the arena. This is what my roster looks like right now. I've got 6-star rank 2s now. Corvus is safely over 13,000. Domino is still hovering at 12,700. And then basically all of my rank 5 5-stars, Hype Blade, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, Stark Enhanced, Void, and Vision are all over 13,000. Red Hulk, who doesn't have the highest PI, is still down to 12,300. But Iceman did jump to over 10,000, given that Iceman is SIG 200, so that factors in. But check this out, Captain America Infinity War. The even 10,000. Can't make that up. So I am curious to see. I'm going to be giving you some feedback in a couple of days as I run the arena with this, and maybe Alliance War backup and even Alliance Quest to see how I feel about the Suicide build. I do think that if I enjoy it, it's going to be something that I continue to work into my questing. Maybe, just maybe, I'll finally go for a Legends run one of these days, since this will help. I still think in general, the reason why I haven't done it or even tried it is because between the time allocated, the resources between energy refills and boosts allocated, I think that it's more con than pro. Yeah, it's nice to have the ego boosted by being a legend in this game, but the title doesn't really give me that much of an incentive. Your text changes color in chat, and you get, what, a tier 4 class catalyst? That's pretty pathetic in terms of rewards versus how much time it takes, sometimes multiple hours for sure, to get that title. So just haven't done it yet. I've got a very busy schedule outside of this game and still like to make a couple videos a day on YouTube. So that is my new Mastery setup. Please let me know your thoughts on it. I'm sure some people will say it's trash, because I always get that, but it works for me, and maybe you can help me out in terms of what you would recommend future Suicide Mastery builds for certain champions, because I want to do a separate video this week on the best champs to use Suicide Masteries on. So if you found some underrated champs to do that, please comment below and help contribute to that video. And otherwise, thanks for watching, and as always, commenting and just supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel.